Hey guys, this is Amber Carr coming to you from Jackson, Michigan. I am currently an advisor in the College Advising Corps. I work within Jackson High School. Jackson High School is a 1,600 student school with a 60% free and reduced lunch population. And a little bit about Jackson, it's also known as the birthplace of the Republican Party. So the different ideas about education are a little bit different from what I learned in college, but overall I'm enjoying my placement through the College Advising Corps. And if you don't know, the College Advising Corps is housed in the Center for Educational Outreach at the University of Michigan. A few of the lessons that I could share about my current work include, but are not limited to, remembering the communities that you come from as well as the communities that you're working in. Jackson is a different type of community. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, for those of you who don't know, and the culture surrounding education and what access means in Detroit is different from what it means in Jackson. In Detroit, for example, one of the biggest goals and aspirations for most students graduating from any Detroit Public High School is just to leave and go to college. However, here in Jackson, a lot of the culture surrounding education includes staying local and keeping what you've learned within the community. So one of the biggest issues I've actually had is trying to encourage my students to leave Jackson and the safeness that they feel within their nest. But at the same time, I accept and understand the different things and aspects as to why they believe in staying local and keeping education within the community. My time in the College Advising Corps, I actually plan on getting into some sort of policy regarding education administration. I'm not sure in what aspect I'll do that, but I also have a strong interest in social work. I'm not 100% sure where this will take me, but I do know that I want to continue to work within communities and to try to bridge the educational gaps that we see between just the communities here in Michigan and across the United States in general. As you all know, or maybe you do not, education is not nearly as free as we would like it to be, and that comes in all aspects. Our students are not getting what they need out of the public education system, and it's really upsetting to see that on a daily basis, and I want to do something about that in the future. Following the program, I know that the job that I want to have is something that I'm going to create on my own time with my own aspirations, not necessarily something that exists currently. The question that we have up: what are some of the lessons that you've applied from the CASC program and the University of Michigan? One of the biggest lessons, and I cannot forget this at all, is that when you're working within a community, you have to remember that you're coming in as an outsider. Being an outsider is a number of different things depending on the community. For one, not being from Jackson, that's my number one push for being an outsider. And then remembering that I come from a much larger city, from the University of Michigan, it means that I'm viewed in a certain way that I might not have thought of. In my community, for example, a lot of my students were not so sure about working with me because U of M, whether you believe it or not, has this background and this history of being an elitist for people of Jackson County. Coming in from the University of Michigan, I remember the community I came from with my education made me sort of a target for some of my students when it came to staff members to avoid at the high school. You always have to remember the communities that you come from and what that means in that community that you're working with. So my last little wraparound piece regards, I guess, advice to graduating seniors. The biggest piece of advice I could give to any graduating senior considering working within a community is just to remember that just as much as you want to be there, there are people that want you there. On that same note, remember that this community existed long before you step foot into it, and they will continue to exist when you leave out. Don't make promises that you cannot fulfill in your time within that community, and don't leave your community empty-handed when you do choose to leave. While I'm in my first year of the program and I know that I have another school year, I want to make sure that I'm tying up loose ends all along to make sure that my community is left in the best shape possible and that they can believe in the program of the College Advising Corps. You always want to make sure that you respect the community that you're in. Respecting the community means accepting the community, working with the community, and not just in a community, and remembering who you are and how that relates to your community. But in all honesty, the greatest piece of advice that I could give anyone, and I do mean anyone graduating from CASC, take the leap of faith and just jump. You'll never regret it.